This is Karen and Tim from Stampin' on the Back Porch. Welcome to our podcast, where we talk about everything paper crafting, creativity, and life. This is our very first episode, and it's titled The Funeral of a Crafter.
Now, that is an odd title.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So why would we name something like that? Because Nettie had a lot to teach us.
Yes.
So about 2 months before Nettie died, she called me. She used to come to my classes until she needed to move to assisted living. And then about 2 months before she died, she called and said, "You know, Karen, I really can't craft anymore, but I love looking at the catalog and dreaming about it. So would you mind bringing me a new catalog?" I said, "Oh, of course, we'd love to."
And I did. So I rang the bell at the assisted living place, and somebody came to the door, let me in, and I found Nettie playing. What was she playing again?
I don't know, bingo or cards or something.
No.
I don't know.
Bingo. She was playing bingo in the lobby. And so I went up and I gave her the catalog, and she was so excited, but she couldn't talk. Now, that's not Nettie. Nettie loves to talk. When I would deliver them to her house, we would talk for a half an hour. And anyway, she just loved seeing her brand new catalog.
So at the funeral, afterwards we were having lunch, I was telling her daughter the story, and she says, "Oh, Karen, that's nothing. Do you realize for the last 2 days of her life, she needed to go to the hospital, and she made sure the catalog came along with her." I thought, what a great story. And also during the service, one of her granddaughters got up and shared about all of her special memories creating and crafting with Nettie, and especially about all the little boxes and little favors they'd make for their friends on every holiday, especially Valentine's. And I remember Nettie all the time, when new catalog came out, her first thing that she cared about was any new boxes or little containers that you could make, because she was always looking for these new things to create with her granddaughters. And I just thought, that enthusiasm is just contagious. But, so her granddaughter went on to talk about how they just love to craft. They were going through and taking, from her stuff that they wanted. And I just thought, how cool is that? So what we can learn from Nettie. A lot. So I just put down like 3 points that I just really especially get from this story. And one is just the power of hobbies to keep us engaged in life, even when circumstances are difficult. We do Facebook Lives every week, and so many people have written in and talked about they're in rehab, they're recovering from a major illness, whatever it is that has them laid up, being able to interact online, watch people make crafts, and dream about what they are going to make when they are feeling better. It just helps pass the time, helps keep them out of keeps them happier and thinking positive, and even can help with the pain. And I thought that's just really powerful.
Even when they have a sense that they may not be able to return to that. Like Nettie. She was not going back to...
Still staying inspired.
Yes.
And dreaming about that.
Dreaming.
I was thinking when I first started card making, my sister and I started together, and we were talking with my mom about, we were both just saying how we would lay awake at night, look through a catalog, and dream about card ideas. And then we put the catalog away. We still couldn't go to sleep. All these card ideas are out there. And my mom said, "Oh, that's terrible. You can't go to sleep." And we both look at her and say, "Oh, no, it's great. It's so much better about all the stresses in life that might have you staying awake. Going to sleep, dreaming cards is awesome." so I just love it. And some of our best ideas, I think, for creativity just kind of happen when you least expect it, and when you're kind of there waiting to go to sleep.
And since I go to sleep right away, I never knew that was taking place.
Yeah. And the second thing is just you're creating for and with others. I think when we create things for others, it brings us out of ourselves, and we're focused on the person we're making it for. I said, and it just really fills you with gratefulness and thoughts about that person. I think that is very powerful. And then the idea of community. And you can craft, traditionally we've always thought getting together and crafting and forming friendships. And we've really discovered this last couple of years with our online community that's also true of an online community where we can share what we make, give comments, get feedback, and get to know other crafters like ourselves. And I just think the power of community is powerful.
And I got to go back to the grandparents.
Oh, we haven't gotten to grandparents
Oh, we
yet.
haven't.
We're not going.
Okay.
Tim thinks he's going back.
No.
I think Tim is a little ADD.
Yeah.
This is kind of showing you. I gave him the basic framework of where we're going to go with this, and I just thought, yeah,
Yes.
no. So he's going to go back to where we've never gone before.
I glanced at her notes, and I can't read very well anyway. So.
But my last comment, and I just love this. This is about the importance of being a grandparent. And before, we're going to focus just on grandparents, but I want to put an aside here that doesn't necessarily need to mean a grandparent. I had a great aunt that was just like a grandma to me, and it could be an aunt, it could be any adult that you have a close relationship. It is such a gift to our kids if they have someone besides their parents, other adults that really matter in their lives and make a difference. But in Nettie's story, how she passed this, she did this with her grandkids. And I think it's important to share our interest. If you love to cook with your grandkids, be remembered for more than the grandparent that just came to all the games and, was supportive of their interests. But it's also a way of making it mutual. We want to share ourselves too. And I'd love to hear your take on grandparents.
Well, it's a lot because I'm a grandparent. No,
Yes.
you all know Hank, so there's an aspect of this that really hits home because of Hank loving to do Facebook Live with Grandpa and Grandma. No, with Grandma, but that grandparent relationship. My background's in adolescent chemical dependency, and often the conflict and the stress between kid and parent was so intense that where that kid would go is to Grandpa and Grandma and find a caring person that loved him unconditionally. And I remember one time hearing a young man say that his bottom, what proved to him that he had a problem, was that he stole money from his grandmother. And he didn't think he'd ever do that. And that's how important a grandparent is.
And that was what gave him reason to change his life, was realizing he'd hurt this person that mattered so much to him.
So when it comes to crafting, that's a lot nicer story, but it still includes that generational jump, and one that can be very nurturing and very creative and very nice for the older person and the younger person, like it was for Nettie.
Very reciprocal. And that just reminds me, last night we were watching The Voice. We TiVo things and watch them later, so, it wasn't in real time, but it was the episode where they dedicate a song to someone.
Yep. We've been kind of struck with how many songs were dedicated to grandparents. And that was evident last night, which is like 7 weeks ago in real time because we TiVo. But it really was touching stories about the importance of a grandparent when it comes to the influence and the support and the kindness that they receive.
Yeah, and the emotional feel of the kids sharing, this dedication was just so. Never, ever discount the importance, of being a grandparent or that caring adult in a child's life, And we may not even ever see the results of that, but those things really matter.
And personally for me, when I was at Nettie's funeral, I was surprised, very happily surprised at the granddaughter's accounting of how important card making was with Grandma. Because I don't think, I maybe forgot it, but I don't think I ever remember hearing that story until she was eulogized by her granddaughter that just loved making cards, at least the details, and it was powerful.
So we're going to end this broadcast with a question for you. Who in your life has influenced you in being creative, whether it's card making, anything in life that's just made you who you are today? This would be a perfect time to make a card, write those important words of thanking them, letting them know what they mean while you still can, and putting it in the mail. because when we think of Nettie and realize how she was dreaming and staying inspired until the end and passing on her love of crafting, isn't that a wonderful way to be remembered?
So, if that person is you, do I have to mail it, or can I just send you? Give you
You
a
could
card?
give it to me on Facebook Live on Thursday, and you'll cry while you give it to me. We'll
know,
see if I do,
know. Yeah.
because
No, she won't.
Tim is the emotional one between the two of us, as you can tell. So I
Karen-
said, but not always.
Oh,
but
Not
yes,
always,
but we have fun. This whole world of creativity that we dwell in. I said we dwell in the land of possibilities, and it is so good to be inspired, to feel creative, to be inspired both by things you see and by your friends and family that encourage you. You know, we're all this, and what a beautiful way to live life. So thank you for listening to our very first podcast.
Yes.
And if you want to join our community, just go over to the Facebook groups and look for Back Porch Stampers. We would love to continue our conversations there. Bye.
bye.